Okay, guys, I'm going to do two things in this video, and I'm going to address something from a book that I've picked up recently. It's called Women Who Love Too Much, and I guess this could apply to men as well. It's a book by, even though it does say women who love too much, men can do the same. When we've been through childhood trauma, it means that we're basically in a situation where we can maybe not have the self-value that we would have had we not been mistreated. So I want to address this, and then also looking at a gratitude list, which is very important to understand that we do have gifts in life, and to, so that we can begin to move forward. So what I'm doing, if this makes sense here, this is the book. I'm actually going to write to the author or the publishing company to see if I can read a bit more of this book online, because I found it very useful content on, if we look at codependency as a word. I actually had a conversation or an email with Pete Walker, who wrote Complex PTSD From Surviving to Thriving. And I addressed the question. I said, what did he think the best book was out there on codependency and with regard to women? But again, I wouldn't exclude men from this. He said to me that this book, although it doesn't mention the word codependency, it covers the totality of what codependency is in relationship. So I'm going to be reading a little list here from page 13 of the book, and it's explaining, the sort of things that we suffer with when we have, or, what happens when we love too much, or why we get to that. So number one is it says, typically you come from a dysfunctional home in which your emotional needs were not met. So that's number one. Number two, having received little real nurturing, you try to fill the unmet need by becoming a caregiver, especially to men. Clearly this is a book for women, but again, take this as you will. So by becoming a caregiver, especially to men who appear in some way needy. Number three, because you were never able to change your parents into the warm, loving caretakers you longed for, you respond deeply to the familiar type of the emotionally unavailable man, whom you can again try to change through your love. So what happens is, and I've noticed this myself, that we'll replicate. So we will choose, even if we've had, been through really awful trauma, we'll end up choosing partners that display the same behavior as our parents. Bizarre as it is, this is what seems to happen. So the more we psychoeducate ourselves, then the more we stop doing that. Number four, terrified of abandonment, you will do anything to keep a relationship from dissolving. Number five, almost nothing is too much trouble, takes too much time, or is too expensive if it will help the man you are involved with. Number six, accustomed to a lack of love in personal relationships, you are willing to wait, hope, and try harder to please. Number seven, you are willing to take far more than 50% of the responsibility, guilt, and blame in any relationship. Number eight, your self-esteem is critically low, and deep inside you do not believe you deserve to be happy. Rather, you believe you must earn the right to enjoy life. And again, I think I can reiterate this if there are any men listening out there. I'm sure there are men that have been through similar, a similar setup with women. So again, I don't want to outrule men in reading this. Number eight, your self-esteem is critically low, and deep inside you do not believe you deserve to be happy. I've just read that. Rather, you believe you must earn the right to enjoy life. Number nine, you have a desperate need to control men and your relationship. Having experienced little security in childhood, you mask your efforts to control people and situations as being helpful. Number 10, in a relationship, you are much more in touch with your dream of how it could be than the reality of your situation. Number 11, you are addicted to men and to emotional pain. Number 12, you may be predisposed emotionally and often biochemically to becoming addicted to drugs, alcohol, or certain foods, particularly sugary ones. Number 13, by being drawn to people with problems that need fixing, or by being enmeshed in situations that are chaotic, uncertain, and emotionally painful, you avoid focusing on your responsibility of yourself, to yourself. Number 14, you may have a tendency towards episodes of depression, which you try to forestall through the excitement provided by an unstable relationship. And number 15, you are not attracted to men who are kind, stable, reliable, and interested in you, and you find such nice men boring. So this would be chapter 1 of this book, and the title of chapter 1 is Loving the Man Who Doesn't Love You Back. And that I just read to you was on page 13 and 14. So what I'm going to do now is jump to another idea that I have. And this is an expert from Pete Walker's book, Complex PTSD from Surviving to Thriving. And this is called Toolbox 5. It's at the back of his book. I highly recommend the book if you have complex PTSD, you've had trauma. And this is why I relate what I've just read before to men. If we take, turn it around, we can see that some men will be experiencing these unpleasantries through codependency in relationship as well. So the toolbox now, Toolbox 5, Gratitude 12 by 12. It's a chart, it's a self-esteem building exercise, and it is best approached as a work in progress. So we're always a work in progress, all of us, constantly. Try to think of 12 entries for each category. Resist the inner critic's all or none dynamic, and list something that is generally true of you a good deal of the time, and work on this when you're not in a flashback. So make sure you're not in a flashback when you're doing this list, and ask someone who you trust enough to help you with the exercise. Now, what I'm going to show you, I've got on PDF format, so I'm happy to send you a copy if you email me or message me in Facebook Messenger, or below the video you'll find my email. So just look for my email and you can email and ask me for the PDF of what I'm about to show you. And what we've got, you write 12 accomplishments of your life that are true for you, okay? We want the truth, 12 accomplishments. And I can, when I was very down and going through, breakdown moment, I wouldn't have been able to do this list. So we're going to be at different points in our lives, but wherever we're at, I could probably fill in this list really positively now, but a year ago, I wouldn't have been able to, or 2 years ago. So be gentle with yourself, and it's not all or nothing. Even if you can fill one box of, like one accomplishment, one trait, good deeds, peak experiences. So for me, I've accomplished, I stopped eating sugar. I've accomplished learning astrology. I've accomplished being free of alcohol since 2012. So then you would just fill out your accomplishments. Then you fill out your positive traits. So, I'm kind, I'm loving, I'm thoughtful, and you just, again, fill out your traits. Good deeds that you've done. So I've been doing good deeds all the time. So I can fill out 12 good deeds that I've carried out. 12 peak experiences. Again, you can choose what they are for you. So a peak experience is something brilliant that you think you've done. And that could be, a peak experience. It could be saying no to somebody. It could be leaving something behind. It could be starting something new. Number 5, life enjoyments. So I enjoy astrology. I love, I love taking pictures of flowers. I enjoy drinking tea. That's one of my life enjoyments. I enjoy speaking to people. I enjoy making YouTube. So again, life enjoyments. So then you can do 12 life intentions. What you could do here to make this quite exciting is like 12, you could do 12 intentions for the next year. You don't have to start in January. A year is right from now. 12 intentions for the next year. So for me, I intend to build a website. I intend to start writing my book. I intend to clear up a few matters. So 12 intentions there. Good habits that you have, you want to credit yourself. What are your good habits? We're always looking at what's not right with us. And that's what we were taught when we've been through trauma. What's wrong with us? We're not perfect enough. So good habits and that you've got. Jobs, that you're good at. 12, you've got 12 there. You don't have to have one job. You can just come up with 12 jobs that you've been really good at in your life, if not more, or if not less. And then subject studied, you know, you can find 12 things. They don't have to be qualifications that you've had, but they can be 12 subjects that you've studied. I know that, you know, I came away from school without any qualifications, but I ended up with, didn't end up, but I had a business for 30 years where I was employing 45 people. And so you've got to really look at things that you've studied and, you know, congratulate yourself. Number 10 is 12 obstacles that you've overcome. Okay. So I've overcome some great obstacles in my life, which is brilliant. And number 11, grace received. Many, many times I've had grace received. And then nurturing memories. So make a list of that as well that you've got. It could be somebody that, you know, people that have loved you and love you. And then that's a nice picture of Neptune, Neptunian for me. The reason I'm showing you that is because in my astrology, which is changing the subject, if you're into astrology, if you know where the IC is, it's called the IC. It's at the bottom of the chart. It's generally the beginning. Well, for me, it's my 4th house, and I'm going through some beautiful changes at the moment. And this isn't a picture of me, by the way, but I love the dress. And you know, it's the other thing. Coming back from the astrology point of view, it's like, for me, it's about going with the flow. So, you know, this woman is by water, she's wearing a beautiful dress, and she's, you know, the idea for me is at this point in my life, as I have this transit going on, is basically having a life where I'm making it easier on myself and I'm going with the flow more, and also looking after myself. So, but visual images are really important to take us out of doom and gloom as well. And I'm going to make a video on how we can change images to begin to solve our problems, because I've been reading up on that the last week or so. And I think that's it. Let me see what the next slide is. That's it. I'm going to stop share there. Okay, that's it. And that was a bit of a mix there, but I hope you've enjoyed that. And I'll be back with more in a couple of days. Catch you later.